Hi everyone, my name is Monique Salmon.
And my name is Roseline Okondu.
And this is our SOC 808 supermarket tour. As a group, we decided to go to Loblaws for the supermarket tour. Loblaws is Canada's largest supermarket chain and owns many other chains such as No Frills and the Real Canadian Superstore. The Loblaws head office is also located in Brampton, Ontario. We decided to visit the Loblaws on Carleton Street in the heart of downtown Toronto. The reason that we chose this location is due to the great accessibility, convenience in location, and the wide variety of products. Neither of our group members have shopped at this particular Loblaws, so this is a new experience. When you first walk in, you can see the large decorative signs, many mini specialty shops, and bright colors. The tiles of the floor and the shopping carts both encompass the colors of red, yellow, and orange, which are known to stimulate hunger. According to the OPIRG, the supermarket purposely designs the layout of the store to ensure that customers impulse buy. This particular Loblaws also contains many mini displays to make the consumers feel as though they were shopping in many different stores. The aisle we chose to analyze today is the produce section. We chose the produce section because it contains a wide variety of items that are used in most households, but also because of all of our group members shop in this particular aisle. This Loblaws contains a variety of fruits and vegetables in the produce section, as well as a mixture of both local and imported foods. Since we know that supermarkets often import food from other countries, what is the average distance that our food travels? According to the OPIRG, food miles is the average distance that food travels to get from where it is produced to where it is consumed. It says that the average distance that food travels in North America is 2,400 kilometers. Let's look at a few examples of some food distances we found in the supermarket. We'll be looking at tomatoes from Mexico, which is 3,622 kilometers. Apples from the USA, which is 2,260 kilometers. And grapes from Peru, which is 5,889 kilometers. The average distance of these foods is 3,923.67 kilometers, which is a very high number. So why worry about this? Consumers should worry about food miles since it has the ability to influence the quality of our food. By this, we mean that produce that travels greater distances have come into contact with more preservatives and pesticides in order to make the produce look fresh and appealing. The use of pesticides is one of the major concerns that are present in our foods in the supermarket. However, many people are unaware that pesticides are being used in their produce, or even how it impacts our health and the environment. Let's look at an example between an organic apple that is grown without the use of pesticides and a non-organic apple that has been grown with pesticides. As you can see, the Royal Gala apple on the right has a shiny, glossy outer core, while the Royal Gala apple on the left does not appear this way. With these two pictures, consumers are more likely to choose the apples on the right than the apples on the left because of their shiny appearance. For us personally, prior to reading the supermarket tour, we would often choose the shinier non-organic apples because we believed that this was what well-prepared and healthy apples looked like. But this is not the case. According to the OPIRG, by the time an apple reaches the fresh produce shelf, it has been dipped in fungicide, bathed in chlorine, scrubbed with detergent, and polished with wax. This shows that non-organic produce that has undergone this treatment is not actually healthy for us, even though we may have this perception that shiny correlates with healthy. But why are pesticides something to worry about? Pesticides are chemicals that are used to destroy insects and other organisms on different plants. Even though the idea of using pesticides is seen as a good way to preserve our plants, it ends up causing negative health effects in the future. When consuming this produce, we are also consuming the pesticides on our fruits and vegetables. Pesticides have the ability to bioaccumulate, which means that they can build up in our body and cause problems. Some of these include chronic illnesses, fertility problems, and even brain and lung cancer. Children are more susceptible to these adverse effects because they are still growing developmentally. Pesticides also have the ability to harm the environment. The OPRIG states that pesticides pollute our water, air, and soil, creates a higher amount of pesticides-resistant insects, and more dependency on artificial fertilizers. This shows that the use of pesticides affect all aspects of our environment. Since pesticides are used largely among produce, does this mean that some fruits are more contaminated than others? The answer to this is yes. The Environmental Working Group created a list of the most contaminated foods, known as the Dirty Dozen, and the least contaminated foods, known as the Clean 15. Some of the top most contaminated foods include strawberries, spinach, nectarines, apples, and grapes, while the least contaminated foods included avocados, sweet corn, pineapples, cabbages, and onions. This list shows that fruits and vegetables that do not have harder outer shells or thick skins that can be peeled are more susceptible to having high amounts of pesticides seep into the produce. This means that the fruit on the Dirty Dozen, even when washed, still contains large amounts of pesticides that are then ingested by others.
With this in mind, we decided to do a little experiment. We wanted to know whether people knew which foods were more contaminated than others. We interviewed about 10 individuals in Loblaws. We showed them a list of different fruits and vegetables and asked them which ones they thought were in the Clean 15 and which ones they felt were contaminated by pesticides. The majority of the individuals interviewed expressed a lack of knowledge about what foods were contaminated and the ones that were not. We showed them the EWG's list of the Dirty Dozens and the Clean 15s, in which the majority of people were surprised about the list of produce that were most contaminated, and some even wished they knew this type of information. However, we wanted to go a step further, so we asked these individuals if the knowledge of the list was going to change their habits of purchasing produce. 75% of these individuals stated that it definitely was going to change the choices they made, while the other 25 stated that it was nice to know the information. However, they doubt it was going to change the choices they made. Some even went as far as saying if the government allows it, then they believe there's no adverse effect.
So what can we do to limit our ingestion of pesticides? The first option is buying organic produce. By purchasing organic produce, you are not eating foods that contain pesticides. The second option is growing your own produce. By growing your own foods, you are less likely to use pesticides, but it also allows you to know how your food is being grown. The last option is buying local foods. This ensures that only pesticides approved by the Canadian government is being used and not other unregulated pesticides. To summarize our supermarket tour experience, we largely agree with the information present in the OPIRG and believe that the manual is unbiased. This experience challenged our group's perception of the supermarket, since the issue of pesticides was something that we did not really know about. For example, one group member who had just recently immigrated to Canada for school assumed that the supermarkets in Canada contain healthier and cleaner food because of the supermarket appearance, in comparison to her shopping experience in Nigeria. However, this experience allowed her to see that even though our supermarkets look nicer and cleaner, not all of the food sold is actually healthy. Based on our tour of Loblaws, we agreed that even though we are now more conscious of the use of pesticides and the distances our food travels, it does not really change how we will shop for our food. This is mainly because we focus more on price. However, we agreed to be more conscious of the Dirty Dozen and maybe incorporating more local produce into our shopping experience. That's the end of our supermarket tour. Thanks for watching.